You are tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Masterpiece. I am your host, Brian Hersh, CEO for the Arts and Cultural Alliance of Sarasota County. And Behind the Masterpiece is brought to our amazing friends at Visit Sarasota County. You can always go to visitsarasota.com to find this episode and more. But joining us today is the incredible co-founder and artistic director of Sarasota Contemporary Dance, Leymis Bolaños Wilmott. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Leymis, it's awesome to have you. Sarasota Contemporary Dance is an incredibly cool organization that you co-founded and you lead to this day. You're a choreographer, a dancer, so many things. Oh, yeah. I can't promise that we'll do dance and choreography on this podcast for those who are watching in person, although your hand gestures were great already, very artistic. Leymis, let's start with this toss-up. So Sarasota Contemporary Dance, contemporary is in the title. Tell us, what is contemporary dance? And follow up with that, how does Sarasota Contemporary Dance stand out in this field?
So contemporary is what's happening now. It reflects our time. For me, it reflects the artists that I'm currently working with. So they're able to bring all their histories that they've embodied and all the practice, that they have in their bodies to the creative process. So it should reflect what's happening in the world, whether it's a story or whether it's abstract, which is totally valid. So I love that we get to do contemporary work because it doesn't have to fit in one box. It can be eclectic, and that's one of the privileges that we have here at Sarasota Contemporary Dance. We get to collaborate with these amazing artists that we have locally that are nationally known. And so you come to one of our shows and you might see us collaborating with a funk band, and then you'll come the following show and you'll see us collaborating with the cellist from the Sarasota Orchestra. So we try to keep it fresh and exciting and keep our audiences at the edge of their seats.
We like it, at the edge of the seats. Leymis, talk to us about that, because I know you. I've known you for a long time, probably since I've almost moved to Sarasota. And you are definitely known as a great collaborator, someone who really convenes and brings people together. Talk about that. You already referenced collaboration here, and that probably is something that helps Sarasota Contemporary Dance stand out. Why is that so important to you?
Well, I think for me, I never desired to be an independent artist. I was exposed to dance, obviously, in family gatherings. My background is Cuban. So, I would see my parents dancing, me and my sister to sing, my cousin playing the drums, so I was, my reference to dance is collaborative. And with music and visual arts. And I don't ever, personally for me, I never want to be stagnant. Like I never want to just be so narrow in my thinking. And I think it's important to invite people into the conversation. And for me, that happens in a dance studio. That happens within my company. I want also the artists that I'm working with to have ownership and be able to contribute. It's much more exciting when there's more people. It's, and I always love to use the example of a dance, creating a canvas. There's all these different colors, right? If we just had red, well, that's okay. But imagine when we have the red and the blue and the yellow and the purple and the green, and the black, all of those together. And I think that's how my approach is to the creative process. That's my approach, even how the infrastructure of Sarasota Contemporary Dance, from administratively, it's like that. A lot of my company members have taken on other roles and skill sets for the organization. So like my Monessa Sally is our production lead, and she sets lights for our in-studio series. Juliana Cristina, which is one of my company members, also is our development and marketing. Melissa Ramos, our studio coordinator, and she's the associate director of our training company. So all those things make it more richer and fuller, and also keep us aware. And for me, accountability is important. So I navigate life like this, and I navigate my artistic practice. So when you walk into our studio, it says "Welcome home," and that's the culture we set here.
Yeah, very cool.
Feel like they're entering my family,
I think for people who come to Sarasota Contemporary Dance, they absolutely feel that. It's really a special company. So, Leymis, love you explaining sort of the culture of the company from artistic to administrative. What made you decide to build and launch Sarasota Contemporary Dance a few years ago? And by a few, I don't really mean a few. It's been a while.
Well, we are 19, really 20, so we're
Ooh,
adults, official
Mazel
adults.
tov. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. I always tell people it was definitely a God idea because I don't think a little girl from Hialeah was not dreaming of a dance company. I was dreaming of like, I just love to dance and I want to do that. And that's what's going to keep me in school, because sitting down and, just hearing somebody tell me what to do was not the way I learned. I'm a kinesthetic learner. So I really believe, yeah, it's totally a God idea. I moved to this area to run a dance outreach program for Florida State University called FSU Dance Sarasota. And the reason they brought me here was because of I had something else to offer. My background is Cuban, so I could do Afro modern, I could do choreography, I could do contemporary, and there was already a great ballet company here. And I was very community minded. I've worked with Jawale Willa Dozaler from Urban Bushwomen in community building, being an organizer, community organizer. So I came into this community and there was no contemporary. So I started teaching a class at the Y. And then there was Arts Day, which was a big outdoor festival, and I showed work. I love creating and really empowering artists, and I'm so fascinated how everyone has their own voice and their own instrument. And for me to see that and challenge them, and also like encourage them, it's just such an exciting thing to be a part of. So that's kind of how it started. It was me just gathering artists that were here already. Some of them had graduated from Booker High School and had gone off to college and had moved back to the area, and there wasn't a contemporary company. So I started offering classes, and from one thing to the next, it was, I'm a choreographer at heart. I love creating. And we started putting works together, but we were showing it in Tampa and Miami, but not in Sarasota until that Arts Day. And people came up to us and like, where can we see you? And I said, in Tampa and Miami. And then Nelson Neal, my first board president, which was a dance scholar and professor, said, no, we have to kind of make this happen, and helped start to gather people in the community, a lot of dance educators, to build a board. Karen Shanley-Frack was one of our first board members. Muriel Mayers, which is still on my board today, 95. So it's been an amazing journey, but it's definitely taken a lot of sacrifice, a lot of generous artists, and collaboration is key. There's no way that I would be here if it wasn't for everyone that has been part of this journey.
Yeah, kudos. You can find information and buy tickets to performances that Leymis is graciously talking about to catch that wave right here in Sarasota. If you go to sarasotacontemporarydance.org, and you can find all the season, all the performances, classes, all kinds of things. But before we get to that, Leymis, there's one more thing I want to know. So you already alluded to sort of your roots and family and growing up and being a kinesthetic learner. What really took you from just wanting to be an active person and dancing, with your family on this pathway to be a professional dancer and choreographer and artistic director? Why'd you do this? How did you get on that path?
Well, early on, obviously, dance really paved the way through education for me. My parents couldn't afford outside classes. Like, I never went to a dance studio, so people can't believe that. All my training came from the public school system, magnet school programs. So that was really my ticket to travel and for education. And so I first got formal ballet, contemporary jazz training was back then, junior high. I'm aging myself.
Same. I was in junior high too. That's great.
And then from there, I got a scholarship to go to New World School of the Arts, which is a conservatory in Miami. And then from there, I got a scholarship, so it really paved my way through college and education. So so from an early on, it was, it's my purpose. And that's kind of how it was laid out, and I am so thankful for dance in the schools, like for arts in the schools, because I'm not sure if there wasn't that for me. And at that time, I don't know if they knew so much like we know today of the needs of students that need to learn differently. If I didn't have that outlet, I remember I had teachers that would tell my parents, like, she just learns differently, or she needs to be standing. So I'm so grateful that I had these teachers along the way that got me. And also that my parents were open to it. They're like, you like to dance, go for it. Great. Which I've had other friends that their parents like, no, you need a real job. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, if you love it and you're passionate, you will find a way to make money, And for me, something that's been in my heart was my degree. I went to grad school at FSU. So my degree is in performance and choreography. And I was very intentional of like, I got my master's in this performance and choreography. I better be performing or choreographing, because I just finished paying off school loans. Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to make money. So I was very driven. And I think having a company allows me to advocate for dancers' wages and creating a different model. A lot of companies are under contract. My dancers are actually hourly just because I'm at a place where I don't want them to be going and picking up costumes or having to be at cast party or meeting with a donor and not getting paid. Until we have a salary with benefits, like this model works better because I feel like every hour of their time is precious. So it really has encouraged me and forced me to start to like advocate for dancers and for artists. And that's how that's how the company kind of happened too, because it was just like my journey of like, okay, I'm advocating, my degrees in performance choreography. I'm going to choreograph, I'm going to perform, and I'm going to teach and do everything I need to do to continue in this field.
Amazing. Right?
Easier and make it easier for the next, right?
I know. Well, Leymis, I think what comes across to me is like you're such a force, but you're so caring as well, right? So there's like what an amazing balance to be so driven and have such a force and a strong conviction, yet really compassionate and caring. From the culture you create in your company to advocacy for your dancers, the collaboration, the care and investment in the community back. These are all signatures and hallmarks of Sarasota Contemporary Dance. What, Leymis? What else? What are you thinking about?
That comes from my mom, because when I tried out for junior high school for dance program, I didn't get in, even though it was a magnet school program, because I had no training. So my mom, Cuban mom, went down there and fought and said, my daughter is talented. She just doesn't have the resources, hasn't had the training. And this is a public school. And if you're only going to accept the ones that can go to a private, studio, then this is not right. And because she fought, I got in. So her perseverance, seeing my parents of this like fighting and like making sure that you're heard, it's in my DNA.
Yeah, no doubt. Way to go, Leymis. So let's get into that. Let's talk about this season. I know, listen, as you and I have chatted off camera before and all kinds of things, you're like, Brian, don't miss this. I've already got things on my calendar. I promise you. You are gearing up for like a really incredible kickoff to your main stage. So take us through your main stage, and then I'll follow up and we'll ask a little bit about, but you've got some more intimate performances too, like the in-studio series as well. So let's go main stage. Something really special is coming up very soon. Tell us what's going on.
So we launch our season, our main stage, December 5th through the 8th with the Barker Project. It's this amazing group of musicians led by Johnny Barker. He's a bassist, but like composer, arranger, community organizer, really mentoring these young up and coming musicians. And he has some just star musicians in his band. And I'm so excited. And we're calling it like this gumbo of song and dance, because it's like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Nina Simone, Shaka Khan. Like, it's going to be so amazing. So it's about a 70-minute show with no intermission. So you come, we pack it in there, and you'll be dancing, hopefully dancing with us. We're even doing a Ricky Martin song.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, talk about, we need a little joy. This is the show to go to. And then the next show is January 15th through the 18th, and we're collaborating with Natalie Helm, which I had the honor to collaborate with her a couple of years back as a duet. So we're expanding on that idea. Natalie Helm is an amazing cellist, well loved in our community, and we are highlighting her Kentucky roots. We're going Midwest, a little brass band action. I mean, I love my job, obviously, but I love collaborating because let's just talk about, we're creating a whole camp scene and talk about tents and swings and who knows what else. So you got to come.
Are there s'mores too? Like, is there a fire?
Well, I actually did that when we worked together. I'm not sure if the theater is going to allow that, but we will see.
Probably against fire code, but maybe there's some other ways. Maybe people do it outside before they come in. I don't know. Or offer them for sale at, the snack bar, something like that. We'll find a way.
But again, about 65-minute show, no intermission. And by the end, we'll be at the Kentucky Derby. That's all I got to say. And then the next show is our Dance Makers. And this is March 13th through the 16th. And this has been something that we've been doing for over a decade. It's a show that invites nationally known choreographers to work with Sarasota Contemporary Dance. They usually come in the summer, and they're part of our summer intensive and are able to teach class as well as set work on the company. And I think for us as artists, it's important to have that connection to the broader dance world. But I also feel for our community is important. And, Sarasota is a very knowledgeable in the arts community. So I think they really appreciate when we bring outside artists in. And then May 1st through the 4th is our Voices, and it's our rising choreographers. So we end our season really highlighting the voices of the next generation of choreographers. And I love this show because it was something that I pitched to my board, again, over a decade, just because I feel as a choreographer myself, it was so hard to get your work out there when you didn't have caliber of artists you were working with, or even like kind of that production on video. So what we do is we invite rising choreographers in the summer, and they're part also of our summer intensive, and they get to set work on our summer participants. And they get feedback from the audience. We do an in the round show where they get feedback from the audience and also from other artists. And then we pick a couple of those rising choreographers and we invite them back to set work on our professional dancers and get their work, continue to work on whatever they were working on in the summer, and it gets produced on the main stage. So this allows them to have that kind of portfolio and be like, I've set work on a professional dance company, and here's a video, and it has costumes, and it's been lit, and I'm able to then write all those recommendation letters when they submit to other festivals and to set work on other companies. So it's been a great way of staying connected to choreographers that maybe came in their 20s. Like, I'm still in communication with some artists that we presented 15 years ago, and now they're setting work in their communities and in other states, and I get to be part of that journey, that lineage.
Leymis, your enthusiasm is contagious. I think everybody is going to want to come check out Sarasota Contemporary Dance this season. Leymis, leave us with this. We've just got a little bit of time left, but not only can we see these amazing, incredible main stage performances, but you do something that's kind of like a little bit more intimate in the studio where people can kind of breathe and feel this process. Tell us just like, what is that? How do you do that? And of course, people can go to your website and learn more.
Yeah, so we have our in-studio series, which started also like 7 years ago when we got into our space here in the Rosemary District. And it's an opportunity for artists to utilize the resources here that we have at SED. and they can show work in process. Like sometimes it's always about the end result, but here they can show a 20-minute work. And then there's always a Q&A with a question and answer with the audience after. We also videotape it, so they get from three perspectives. We have 3 cameras and it gets broadcast. So they also have like virtual tickets that we can sell, so they can have that too and kind of get their work promoted out there. And that's been really awesome because we don't only present dancers, choreographers. We've presented artists from WBTD. We have a great collaboration with Sarasota. So we've had Ann Morrison and Blake in here. We just presented the Jewish Theater Company. I might say it wrong, but we just presented them. And so it's not just dance. We've had musicians as well. So we become this hub for the performing arts, which I absolutely love. We have over 31 in studios, and the audience can either sit traditionally or in the round or in pods. It's like a black box space, and it really allows for artists to take risk and also try things out. So we've had sometimes artists that show something this year, and then the next year they come back and they show a larger work. So again, trying to help our community, provide space, all these infrastructures that I'm so blessed to have now. And there's not enough performance spaces for local artists. So this really has been a need, and I'm so thankful that we're able to fill that need for our community.
No doubt. Leymis, you're doing incredible work. Leymis Bolaños Wilmott, co-founder and artistic director of Sarasota Contemporary Dance. You can find everything she's been talking about on their website, sarasotacontemporarydance.org. Buy tickets. Go see that show. I know I'll be there at the opening. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Thanks for sharing your story from all the roots to just, artistic excellence and why education is important and why collaboration is important. And really for everyone here, support the 941 and support Sarasota and these great local arts organizations like Sarasota Contemporary Dance. Leymis Bolaños Wilmott, thanks so much for being on Behind the Masterpiece.
Thank you, Brian, for having me. Thank you.
All right. It's a real pleasure. All right, everyone. You can always find out more about Behind the Masterpiece by going to visitsarasota.com. I'm your host, Brian Hersh. Until next time, peace. Thanks for listening to this episode of Behind the Masterpiece, brought to you by Visit Sarasota County. For more and to hear this podcast, go to visitsarasota.com.